Welcome to Fueling Your Legacy, hosted by Samuel Knickerbocker. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a new, stronger foundation essential in creating your legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. Welcome to Fuel Your Legacy podcast show. Man, we are super excited today. The weather outside is slightly rainy, but not too terrible. We're excited for our book review today, which is going to be on .com Secrets by Russell Brunson, and just going to give a ton of little marketing tips there for you. By no way am I going to go all the way in depth. You're going to need to get the book to really launch your business and change your life as it relates to online marketing. But before we get there, I want to just bring up a few different things. I have two events that I'm going to be speaking at. One is going to be on May 11th. That's the event that I'm putting on with Travis Brady, and that is called the Next Generation Wealth and Legacy Workshop. There, we are going to go in depth into money mindset. We're going to go into depth on how to create a legacy intentionally, why it's important to actually start now to create a legacy. And for all those people who maybe are there at the end of your life and you're looking back, what is my legacy? We're going to go into how to identify your legacy, how to package your legacy and make sure that it perpetuates multi-generational. Even though it wasn't intentionally planned, how can we take and salvage it and make sure that it is intentional now? But there's on the money side, something that's very important. And this is, there's nothing more humiliating for a man than to struggle making money for his family, or even worse, for themselves. And this goes for men and women, actually. So what we're going to be talking about is how to overcome that. So you need to come learn how to get out of the middle class mindset with money and jump into a high class mindset with money, a world class, where you change from striving for and trying to earn and trying to provide for your needs to having a love and abundance, having more than you could ever imagine. And it's a change in intention. It's also a change in how you approach the world. So just super, super excited for that. That's going to be May 11th. If you take a screenshot of this, post it on social media, I will actually give you a free ticket to that event. If you don't want the free ticket, then you can go to my website, samknickerbocker.com, click the link, and go and get a 62% off discount for that if you don't want the free ticket. And that's fine. If you don't want a free ticket, I totally get it. Now, I don't know why you'd want that. I like saving money anywhere I can because I guess I'm a money guy, so that's what I do. Now, the second event is going to be on June 6th and 7th, I believe, and that is going to be all about real estate. So I'm going to be speaking there as well. That is put on by Tiffany Barnes, and it is called the Level Up Real Estate Workshop, I believe. And it's just going to be incredible. She has some incredible content. She has earned multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars over her career a year producing this information. She decided to make it more affordable for people. So that is what we're going to do there. If you have questions about that, also on my website, samknickerbocker.com, you can go and there's a way to get registered for that event as well because I'm speaking at, so it's on my website. So those are the two major events that I want to make you aware of. There's also an event that I got started doing, and that's called the Coach's Journey. That's May 4th. And I will not be there, unfortunately. But the coach, Travis Brady, he is going to be there, and it's phenomenal. It changed the way I do my business. So if you're interested in that and you have a product, a service, something that you're playing with your mind, you're not sure how to start a business or how to create a business that's going to turn into a six-figure income, then you need to be at that seminar because it's just going to change everything there. So get May 4th, May 11th, and then June 6th and 7th. I'm super excited for those events. Now we are going to jump right in after a quick commercial for Friday's podcast, because guess who's coming on Friday? Maddie Mink. If you don't know who Maddie Mink is, go check her out on Instagram. She is a thriving influencer here in the Utah community and also nationally. I just was at FitCon, and it was incredible to see how many people that she didn't necessarily know, but they knew her, and they would come up and ask for pictures. She's basically like a Midtown celebrity and growing. So super excited to have her on, but she's just way, way good at marketing. And that's why we're going to have her on for our marketing segment here this week. And she's a master. If you want to learn how to get your business out there with good intentions, I'll share a story here in a second about kind of the influencing marketer and something that she taught me. But just focus on how can we add value to others. And that's what she's going to teach us a lot about. A few weeks ago, we talked about branding and how to create the brand and create our identity, our reputation. Well, this week we're talking about how do we market that reputation? How do we make sure people know about it and get the word out? And so that is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, the book of choice is called not Expert Secrets. It's .com Secrets, written by Russell Brunson, also who wrote Expert Secrets. Both are phenomenal books. If you have any desire to be online and to really build a business in the 21st century, then you must be online. And he has perfected a way of doing that and has closed more business online than I think anybody else that's in his same genre or field to date. I mean, he's just a wizard at creating a process, a relationship, and taking clients through those things. So in the book, I'm just going to be able to scratch the surface here because there literally is so much in this book. I've talked about this before. Some books are for just like feel good. Some are just like what's the word? Not comical, but basically where you're leisure reading. Then there's personal development. Then there's business development. Then there's like a hard textbook, like a chemistry or a scientific textbook, maybe a journal, something like that from a scientific institution for school. I would say this is even more next level than that. Okay, this book, .com Secrets, is more technical and at the same time as being technical, absolutely applicable and things that you can use on a practice. But it's like a practice book, really. It's not just like a textbook where you're going to read and learn everything. No, it's like, hey, once you read one page or one concept, go and implement it. Once you go implement it, come back, reference, right? And then once you've got a good grip on that one principle, then you can go to the next principle, and the book builds on itself. It starts out with the basics, and that's kind of where I'm going to start out with you, just because if I talk about the higher level stuff, it won't even make sense to a lot of people if you haven't read the book. And so to start out, we have to just be very basic, and it plays absolutely into this. Now, Russell Brunson, he's the author of the book, and he is the owner of ClickFunnels. So if you've heard of ClickFunnels, ClickFunnels has basically become like Kleenex. In the regard of, yes, there's a lot of different funnel systems, but ClickFunnels is like the name brand that everybody calls it. Even if it's something else, even if it's another company that's offering the service, we still all call it a ClickFunnel. Just like, even though there's a lot of different brands of tissues, we all call them Kleenex tissues because they're the name brand, okay? So ClickFunnels is the name brand of the funnel industry, and they're killing it, okay? So this is not just from him, but this is good information for you to understand why this book is so valuable to you and why it's important to be hearing it from Russell Brunson and actually implementing it, not just kind of passively learning something new this week, but how are you implementing this? So there's 3 ways that your business grows. And it's fundamental that you understand these and understand how, depending on your industry and whatnot, how to maneuver each specific, we'll call it leg of a stool, each specific aspect to maximize your business. So number 1 is, if you want to increase your business or you want your business to grow, you need to either increase the number of clients, okay? So just have more people going through your business. 2, increase the value each client gives you, right? So if you were charging $10 an hour, raise that to $20 an hour, right? Now, every time you get that client, you had 10 clients, you were charging them $10 an hour, that's $100. Now you're going to charge them $20 an hour. Now you've got $200. So you just doubled the income of your company by changing the value you were getting from each client and also that you're giving to each client. And then lastly is frequency of purchase, right? And so sometimes you're just going to increase one, maybe you just increase the blood flow, the number of clients coming into your business. Maybe you just increase the value. Maybe you just increase the frequency, okay? Each thing has its own thing that you have to do. Now, I'm going to share a few examples here because I think examples are really, really important. One recent client of mine is somebody she's an esthetician, and she was making good money with her client base, but she was underpriced a little bit. So she's going to keep her same client base, and then she just raised all of her prices by $10 per service. So she increased all of her prices anywhere from 15 to 30%. right? So that was her increase. She didn't increase the number of clients yet, but she just increased the value of the service. Well, what that does in the client's mind is now they think, wow, this is a more valuable service than I thought. So what it's also impacted is in her industry, she gets tips. And so not only did she increase the dollar amount for each service, but as a result, her clients started valuing those services more, and they increased the amount of tips they were giving her. So it was like a double whammy. She got to increase her price, and she's increased her tips, which is fantastic. Now, that doesn't always happen, but in this example, it did. And I would say more often than not, it will happen. Okay. Next is I sat down with her as a business coach and say, okay, how can we decrease the cost? How can we mass order things of your supplies so that we can decrease the cost of each client? Okay. So we're decreasing the cost of each client, increasing the value that they're paying us, which then they are giving even more money in tips. So great situation. Now, also, her number of clients is increasing steadily. So her number of clients are increasing, the value of each client's increasing, and when she gets even more prominent, she can increase the frequency. And she's done things to increase the frequency that her clients are purchasing from her. She's attacking all four of those. Another example of just these three things is heating and air conditioning business that is up in Idaho. And essentially they went in, they purchased a company. The company was not super profitable. It was just making enough money to pay everybody and then a little bit on the top. So the company was just barely profitable, and there was nothing wrong with the company. They were doing great service. Well, what they did next is they came in, new ownership, and within the first month, all they did was change their pricing structure. They didn't get any more clients. They didn't increase the frequency of purchasing. All they did was change the pricing structure to be more profitable. And as a result, they not only were able to increase their basic profit, but they actually increased the value of that company from about $10,000 profit up to over $150,000 profit. So pretty incredible that they were able to grow their company so quickly by just changing one of those things. Their next step, the thing that they're changing next, is going to be increase the number of clients. They're heavily going into marketing, so they're getting a bigger scope and getting more clients in. After that, they're going to create the frequency of purchase, and they're going to go after it that way. So just making sure that you're hitting all three of these separate areas to increase your business. I've done the same thing with me and myself. I've increased the value of my client by setting standards of who I'm going to work with. I've increased the number of clients by getting on social media and doing my podcast and doing these things so that more eyes see who I am, see what I do. I public speak more. So I'm getting more influx there. And then the frequency of purchase, instead of just helping them with one thing, I've made myself more skilled in what I do so that I'm able to help them with multiple products or multiple solutions when they sit down with me. So now I've increased the scope of my business to bring in more business. So those three things are absolutely essential when we're talking about marketing. You have to look at how can I get more clients? How can I get more value out of each client and thus add more value? And then lastly, how can I create the frequency of purchase? If I sell them something today, do I have to wait another year before I sell them? What if I have something that I can sell them next month and next month and next month and create a long-lasting relationship with that client? So huge three principles. Again, I'm just scratching the surface. You need to get this book, check it out, and apply it directly to your business, your industry. Even if it's just your family, you need to find a way to apply it to your legacy so you can share that legacy. Now, one thing that's huge in this industry, especially of influencers, and this is where Maddie comes in. Maddie Mink taught me something very, very valuable when I was getting into this marketing myself. And that is, once you become an influencer on social media or in any form, you need to have integrity in that industry. Okay. So you should know exactly who your avatar is. And when you're increasing the frequency of purchase, when you're adding value, your avatar is basically your perfect client. Okay. Just to clarify that, your avatar is your perfect client. The more you know your perfect client, the more you know exactly where they hang out on the web, whether they're on Instagram, Facebook, blogs, Reddit, YouTube, whatever it is. You need to go and find out where they're at, go into the forums and be listening to their conversations. You need to be seeing what they're looking for. What are their pain points? Every time you sell something, okay, every time you're adding value to a client and you expect them to pay you, you actually need to be adding real value. So if you know your avatar and you know exactly who they are, you know exactly what they think, exactly what they search on the internet, exactly what they're eating for breakfast, where they sleep, the type of clothes they wear. Once you are clear about your identity and the avatar that you're trying to attract, then you start creating solutions to their problems. You go onto all these forums, you find out what they need help with, you listen to them. And as you listen to them, then you create a solution for them. And that naturally is going to bring them in. So you're not out like aggressively marketing to these people and just making everything pop up in their face all the time. You're gradually sharing that you have a solution. And the people who have that problem are going to gravitate towards your solution. Now, you know that they have the problem because you've just researched them, black ops them, and stalked them basically online. And so you know what their problem is, but you're not telling them, hey, you have a problem. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, I have a solution to XYZ problem. And then those people who know they have XYZ problem, they're going to self-select into your company, into your service, into your product, and they're going to want your value. And that is how you do this. Well, I was on social media. I'm becoming more of an influencer. I have more and more followers every day. And what was interesting is my friend saw on something on Facebook that this guy was looking for an influencer to post some of his, to pay to post some of his stuff. And so he tagged me in it because he knows I'm an influencer. And the first thing I did, and this is only because I talked to Maddie. Before, I probably would have just been like, hey, I've got a bunch of followers. I'll post stuff for you. Well, the more I talked to Maddie, the more I learned about keeping my brand consistent with my market. So my reputation consistent with the way I express my reputation. Also, I have to know who my avatar is. Who would I be marketing to? If I was to take on a advertisement for somebody and I was going to advertise for them, I would need to know that I actually support that product, number one. But number two, I need to know that I can actually add value to that vendor. Okay, if the people following me are not able to take advantage of his service or his product, then it's not a good match. And so that is something that I looked at. I was like, okay, what's he marketing? Turns out he's marketing like decorative wood, something or other, right? That's off my brand. It's not anywhere close to my brand. And so for me, even though I have followers that I could market to, it doesn't make sense for me to do so because I don't have it would be off my brand, number one, but number two, the people following me, they probably are not looking for decorative wood, okay? And so I then can turn around and refer another influencer that would be more fitted for his thing where he's going to get the most value, because part of it is the value or the income that your client's giving you or this marketer's giving you. But the other part is, how are you adding value back to that individual? And that's the key. How was I going to add value back? I don't have a way to add value back to this gentleman. And so I declined the offer of being an influencer for him because it didn't make sense. So just be very conscious of aware of who's your client, who's your following, and what's your brand. And then stay consistent with those things. Don't muddy up the water with bad business or bad business practices, okay? So that is the second thing I'm going to talk about. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about here as it pertains to this book. Again, you need to go pick up the book. There's going to be a link in the show notes below to .com Secrets on Amazon and probably to his landing page as well. I want you to get this book. I know the value is there because it's helped me and changed the way I do my business. I can't possibly touch everything on it. So go get the book. Okay, the last thing. When we're talking about clients, okay, you can call them inventory, you can call them traffic, you can call them clients, you can call them prospects, you can call them leads, you can call them whatever you want. Essentially, people who you're advertising to, okay? Well, there's 3 types of traffic that Russell Brunson outlines in his book. There's traffic that you can control. Then there's traffic that you don't control. And then there's traffic that you own, okay? So understanding the difference of these is very, very important, okay? So traffic that you can control. If I pay for an advertisement and people click on my link that says learn more, opt in, get this newsletter, get this ebook, whatever it is, when they opt into that, then what's happening is I've gained control of that traffic. The traffic was on Facebook, Instagram, Google, whatever it was. It was on that platform. And then by me paying for advertising and them clicking on my link, I gained control of that traffic. And now I'm going to put them into a system of following up. Okay. So that is how I control traffic. Traffic I don't control is all the random people on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever, Google, YouTube. I don't control any of that traffic. My objective is to gain control of all that I do not control currently. Okay, that's the main purpose of advertising. And so understanding the difference between the two helps you better target what you actually can control and to gain more under control. But if you think you have control of the traffic, but you really don't, then you're going to advertise differently and probably be unsuccessful. So understanding what you have control over, what you don't have control over, and creating advertisements or funnels to target each specific area of control. The last is traffic that you own. So how would you say traffic that you own? Well, traffic that you own is going to be something where an email list, a Facebook list, somewhere where you have direct ownership of their information. They gave you in exchange for generally an ebook or a blog or something, in exchange for some value that you offered them, free, in scare quotes, right? Free value. They gave you either a phone number, an email, a name, some way to contact these people. And as you did that, or as they did that, now you own that traffic. If you choose to switch platforms, if you choose to do something a little bit different, if you change your career, whatever it is, you own their information and they've opted in to allow you to market to them. This is different than going and buying a billion-person email list, right? If you go and buy a huge email list, then you technically do own that information, but they're not invested in you. There's no relationship. And so creating a funnel to where you can ultimately own traffic, you can own their information, then you can directly market to them. And direct marketing is always going to be the best form of marketing. And so those are the three traffic types. It's important to recognize where most of your clientele is at right now. If most of your clientele is still in the controlled status, but you haven't quite taken them from control to own, then that's a breakdown that you need to start changing so you can own more of that traffic. So it goes from you don't control the traffic. That's the millions of people on all the social media sites and search engine platforms, okay? So that's all of the traffic. That's stuff you don't control. Your objective is to gain control of as much of that as possible. And then once you gain control, ultimately you want to own that traffic. And the way to own that traffic is to, once you gain control, invite them into a deeper experience with you where they're willing to give you a name, email, and phone number. That way you can actually own that information and they gave it to you. You didn't go steal it. You didn't do any black market crap. You just asked for it and they gave it to you in exchange for a value that you added. So those are the three main topics that I wanted to touch today because, I mean, there's so much, but those three is a great start. If you can start wrapping your mind around that, start thinking about how can I infiltrate these different markets. So the first is 3 ways to grow your business: the number of clients, the value of each client, and the frequency of purchase. The second is know your avatar and make sure when you're marketing and influencing, influence marketing, that you're adding value to your avatar, that everything you're selling is literally a solution to their problem. Always pose things as a solution. Maybe bring up the problem and the solution, but don't call people out and say, you have this problem. And then lastly is traffic control, okay? And those three are the traffic that you don't control, the traffic that you do control, and then the traffic that you ultimately own and you have permission to market to them. So those are the highlights of this book. Well, I don't even know if I would say they're the highlights. They're the basic highlights of the book. There's so much more in there. Please go check out the book if you have any desire to really excel in business. You need to be on social media. You need to be online with this. And as you do that, as you focus on these few different things, your life will change. So that is what we have today as far as the book review. It's fantastic. I'm really excited for you guys to read it. I'd love to hear your comments. Again, take a screenshot, post it on social media, tag myself in it or Maddie Mink, and we will get you a free ticket. Let's do this. Once you post this on social media, put in the comments of your post, FYL-SAM for Fuel Your Legacy SAM, and I will get you a free ticket to the Next Generation Wealth and Legacy Workshop on May 11th in Sandy, Utah. I'm super excited for that and super excited for the value that you're going to receive here on Friday from Maddie Meek's fantastic conversation. And just very excited for all the benefit and light that she brings into my life. So I'm glad to share her with you. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us today. If what you heard resonated with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me so I can give you a shout out on the next episode. And thanks to all those who have left a review. It helps spread the message of what it really takes to build a legacy that lasts. Catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy.